Come on in. Sorry about that. I had connection issues, so hopefully this will better. I had to reboot my entire modem, so hopefully this will be better. Whoever's in, let me know if you can hear me. Sorry about that. Hopefully everybody comes back because I had to reboot the modem. Connection issues. To the live chat. Hopefully people come back in. They figure it out. Connection issues for whoever sees this. I had to reboot and redo it. So hopefully you guys will all come back in because it's like we have 4 people that tried to come in. If not, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes or a minute or two more. Well, somebody's popping in and out. I don't know if you, hopefully, y'all can hear me. Trying to see if anybody else comes on. I'm going to talk about it regardless if anybody pops on anyway. And then I got homework. I'm in the room right now, so hopefully people who were on here before come back and realize I had connection issues. Let's see. Jay, what's up? Happy Sunday, my brother in Christ. Yes, honey, he lives, and there's a whole bunch going on right now. I just um I just did a Christian video, and then I was having connection issues before. So people had tried to come in and didn't know that I was here. Let's see here. Let me just put connection issue back live because people had sent stuff. Yeah, so there was like I guess 4 people, but anyway, we'll get into it. How are you doing first, bro? Because I know things are really weird right now. it's I don't know if you watched in my news feed. I saw the whole Senate Congress drama and the one senator trying to jump on the other senators, and they had to pull him back and cover his mouth. And then, unfortunately, Lord knows, we got the little 6-year-old who went into the school and shot his teacher. And we need to know Jesus lives. And I just had a conversation with my best friend, and it's mind blowing to me because I've tried to wrap my head around it, and I've tried to wrap my head around eh, people who know Jesus is, they know God exists, they know the world is under a curse, but they refuse to go into relationship with Him. And I've been trying to put into context that mindset. I don't know where Chicago BBW is. I'm concerned that people saw me pop on, and then I had connection issues, and I had to reboot the whole computer, so they may not realize that I'm back in. So I was hoping that they would realize it, but they'll catch this later, and hopefully they'll understand and what needs to be said. But the world is nuts. You in Tucson right now? Okay, yeah. I used to go down to Tucson to go to Mount Lemon with my aunt in the summer months. Um, Jay, I had a conversation with my best friend, and we yesterday it was actually yesterday, and something that's been really bugging me has been how people don't realize the season we're in, and they won't come into relationship with Christ. And I know what's been coming to me is the scripture where I'm gonna turn this off so I don't click anything. What's been coming to me is a scripture where it says Jesus asked Peter, Peter, who do they say that I am? And he says, you're the Son of God, you're the Messiah, you're the Christ. And people and he says, flesh and blood didn't show you this, only my Father in heaven showed you this. So what's been disconcerting to me is I was under the impression, well, maybe folks ain't realizing what's going on. Maybe the world is thinking all of this weirdness is normal. And for some, it is. For some of them, this is their normal. It honestly is. Because I work now back in office and I'm interacting with people because I was more closed into my house working from home. And even when you go to the grocery store, you're just kind of watching people and you're looking at people anytime you're in public, and it's a weird disconcerting mindset now. And but I realize that people who are secular in nature, who have what we say carnal man, then I mean they don't have a relation with the Lord, they do know something's going on. And I didn't realize that until yesterday with a conversation with my best friend. And just to kind of give a heads up, the conversation was we were talking about the crazy senators who went to go jump on the other senator, and the other senator had to pull him back and cover his mouth. Y'all can all see that it's all over the news. So with the whole election of what's that, McCarthy, whatever his name is, that whole madness within the Republican Party. Again, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. Normally when I'm registered independent. I'm not neither of those two. And so it really doesn't matter because I don't get in politics on that level, even though I watch. I think we all should be alert of what we're in, even as Christians, but we don't make that our I don't we don't base our movement, our journey, our walk with the Lord based on that, even though we have Christians that are doing that, which is scary. So me and her are talking, and then another friend comes on the line with us because a friend calls me and I join the lines and everybody speaks to each other. And my friend says, and I said, girl, that whole party's got a whole curse going on within it. And then she says, the whole world is under a curse. Now, let me say, my best friend is not saved. At least the fruit that I know. She went to one of the schools that's under a religious group that I have question marks on some of their steps. I'm going to say that. I don't know. I'll leave that to Lord as to how he's going to judge that. They're the ones with the statues and the beads, and they pray through somebody else other than Jesus. So um, I leave it there, and I leave that in God's hands. While they do have some baseline Christian principles, there are a lot of question marks in their practices. So I leave that there. Well, anyway, she did go to one of their schools, and so she claims that as her a religious affiliation, but she don't go to their churches. And as we've talked, and she knows where I'm at in my Christian views and Christian walk and where I stand now, I I had shared some of what's going on in the times we're in, but it was like, I'm not going to change. I'm going to stay here. And it became disconcerting. But what was really more disconcerting, I'm like, can't they see it? Well, they do. There are people God is fully showing them what's going on. For her to verbally say, because the Bible says out of the heart the mouth speaketh, for her to verbally say it, she realizes what's going on. But I am not going to give in. I am not going to accept Jesus. I'm not. I'm not. And she has her husband's aunt who she swears hands down she knows that woman is Christian, no ifs, ands, or buts. So there's a witness about the aunt by marriage that shows her a godly woman, but even still, that's not enough for her to draw in and receive Christ. And what I had to do was step back because she's not my only friend who's like this. I have another friend of mine, love him dearly. He's very new age, metaphysical, like Dwayne Dyer, all of that stuff. And, that manifest and speak gratefulness and, listen to these self help tapes that tell you you have power within yourself to do stuff, which we've incorporated into the church, unfortunately, and not understanding that any power that we have is through Jesus, it's not of myself. And so that's a whole nother box. But she says the whole world is under a curse. At this point, I said, I've been trying to tell you this. And she's like, okay, on that note, I got to get off the phone because she knows I'm about to talk about God. I'm about to talk about Christianity. I'm trying to talk about the Bible. They know it's here. They know it's a curse going on. They know there's something happening, but I don't want to look to the God of the Bible to deal with this issue. It's absolutely stunning to me. So today I got up, I was like, well, I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna talk about some things. So one is the madness that happened in the Senate. And all the madness that we're seeing right now that's happening, none of this is surprising. Um, None of this is shocking. We've seen from the previous administration and all the madness, the lies, the manipulation, the just weirdness. And even now, how that has permeated into Christian churches, into a party, into government, into other people running for government offices, doing some of the same behavior. This is a spirit. Yet, I want to keep on going. I want to keep doing the things that I'm doing. It's weird. We have a 6-year-old who went into a school and shot his teacher. They are not even dealing with this. They're being very vague about it because now we're talking, it's gone from like your junior high school people, high school and college level, down to the babies doing this craziness. This is spiritual. And everybody is like, because now you're on that border that Satan likes to play on, you're sympathetic because it is a 6-year-old child, but you're sympathetic to the teacher too. So now we sit into justifying the victim, hate to say that, and justifying the victimizer, which is the playground Satan likes because it confuses right and wrong. This baby done went up in a school at 6 years old. 6 years, I would have never thought to take a gun into a school and to shoot a teacher. You might have a little fight on the playground over the ball, over your food, over a toy. But 6 years old now going into schools and firing guns at teachers. And we don't realize we're in trouble. We don't realize something is wrong. I'm looking at the adult people, and I can't call them adults, grown, meaning grown men and women, but grown children who I'm looking and they have not been reared. Something is wrong. And what is going on now is we're seeing the results of people who aren't being reared. We're also seeing the results of what's being introduced to kids. We started talking about violent issues with the behaviors, with the video games and everything else in music back in my days. Now things are so ratchet between the sexual stuff, the violent stuff. Now we've also the legalization of drugs, which now it doesn't matter. I can drive down the street and smell it everywhere. And then go to the bus stops and you're seeing these people who are demented because they drugged out of their mind and or mentally challenged. Or, like I said, they haven't been reared or raised, and then we can't even say what other damages have happened to these individuals. Something's wrong. Yet the world, in its to me is very interesting, is very aware that something's off kilter, but they are going to stay along the same pattern and they're doing things to try to make themselves happy, which is bizarre to me. I'm gonna be happy even in the madness of it all. And as we're watching, I sat there and I watched at the center. First, I said, "Girl, you got to see this Senate thing. This is it. It was comical and crazy and sad all in one time. I'm like, this is complete madness." Then, as Christians, that is my other concern: is we've let so much infiltrate in that there's a people who profess Christianity who aren't wanting Christ to return. They want to be down here with the materialism. They want to name it, claim it. They want the successes. And then we have those who are saying they're Christian who are blending a whole bunch of stuff together from New Age philosophy, metaphysical. I can name it. I can claim it. I can speak it into existence. I can say I'm grateful today, and not grateful in the biblical sense, but grateful more of I'm going to practice gratitude today. Doing the metaphysical, the new thought. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. And the whole thing with the kid going in and shooting the teacher, I was like, what in the world? And how do you handle that? The other thing is, I think somebody said in a previous video that I did, I think the parents should be responsible. I've been a big proponent of that. But we also have to understand there are spirits behind all of this, even the lack of parenting. Because my question is, where was the parent? Where was the parent? How did you not? What was this baby do? A 6 year old doing able to get to a weapon? That's my number one issue. Where were you as a parent? My parents had a gun in the house. My mother had a gun in the house back in the day. It was kept in a lockbox at the top of the closet. You had to do some work to get up there to get that. And she would know. She was a horrible parent on a lot of different abusive levels, but on just some basic levels, that's parenting. You don't have a gun where a child can get to it because the only way I'm thinking that child got it was either from it had to come from, that could have been a friend, it could have went to a friend's house, but even then adults need to keep these weapons up. And I'm kind of in agreement that parents need to be held accountable for the rearing of their kids. For a child to go down a mental vein to go and say, I'm going to get at this teacher because I'm angry at this teacher, I'm going to shoot him. But there are kids now at 6 and 7 years old who think like this. It's not unusual. There's adults who think like this. I got them in my family who are just cuckoo and they just violent on a general level. And it's a lot of it's a rearing issue. So, and you see him and you're just like, what in the world? And you're grateful that God put something in you to where you don't go down that vein. That's that's one thing I am grateful for is that God put something into me where I don't go down that rabbit trail because that's not a good rabbit trail. Anyway, I don't have a lot of people in here tonight. Oh, rest in peace, Grumpy. Oh my God. Yeah, Grumpy, he had that's in our family huge. We do on that side. There's a lot of criminal activity. There's a lot of temper activity. Um, and because he did not really rear some of the extended children, I'm just really grateful that I think for me, I know it's the hand of God on my life, and the fact I think his mother, my grandmother, her Christian walk had a very big impact on me. Um, and what God did was put rams in the bush for me because both my parents, like I said, are foul. God bless them, and those were the tools He was given. And an early grandmother before salvation, that's who she and what she raised, and Lord knows. And she raised a very self-centered child who did not really speak into any of his children's lives. And it was ghetto help. I'll go bail you out, or I'll go visit you at the prison. It was that ghetto mentality, but you didn't do the things to avoid or speak into your children's lives to where they would be possibly different. And that is unfortunate, but that is also the same thing that I believe is permeating a lot of society now, is that parents aren't speaking into these kids' lives. Parents aren't um, they're not parenting, and most of them weren't parented. You can go into the grocery store, and what do? They hand them a phone. The freaking 2-year old knows how to use a phone better than the parent. They're watching videos and everything else. You don't tell them to be quiet. You don't tell there's nothing. So you give them a device that has become their parent. You put them in front of a TV because you don't want to be bothered with them and you don't want to parent them. You pop them out because you like to have sex, but you don't parent them. And not only to mention, most of these kids are raised up in the same as I was, single parent homes, and they don't have a standard biblical foundation of a father and mother in the house. And sometimes, even if you do have both parents in the house, your parents aren't adults. You got grown children raising you. I've watched it. I've been around what I hate to say ghetto families, where I've sat with friends and they have different children come over their house that are maybe nieces, nephews, whatever, and the child doing all sorts of manners of stuff, and they just like this because they don't want to deal with it. But that same behavior is what makes these little butthole children. Yeah, I work in a company right now where it's like no home training, and I'm watching people. I'm like, it's almost like, is this really happening? Is this really real? Is this really our world? Well, yes, it is, because this is a season we need to be in for time to wrap up. Hey, PJ, what's up, baby? And this is the time that we're in right now, and people just and happy New Year to both of y'all. People are just I don't know. It's this weird mindset. In my Christian class, we've been talking about. I'm doing a New Testament class right now. We're talking about the times that we're about the Christian church, and is it where it's supposed to be? And it's not. When it talked about there was a remnant in this time, I believe that's what we're working with now. We're working with a remnant. This is it. This is it, and it's scary. As we look at the results from climate to wars to social issues to our society is now being ruled by what everybody's okay. The victimizer is now considered. I don't This is another one I saw, and I saw this. There was a man in Texas. He goes in to rob, and this is just last night. I was half asleep and got up to go to the bathroom, and I saw this playing on the news. He goes in to rob a restaurant, and people are eating. So he's stealing all their wallets, okay? He's masked up, stealing the wallets, and and I get times are crazy, but there's a plethora of jobs right now. People looking for folks. The company I work for, you can smoke weed, do whatever. They don't really care. They hiring any and everything. Uh, and here in Arizona, not bad, but starts about just under $18 an hour. Okay, and you can move all over the company if you want to. So there's jobs, and they're hiring everything. There's companies begging for folks. I don't care what it is. There's jobs. He goes in to rob this place. As he goes to, I guess, leave, one of the patrons has a gun. And that patron, pop, 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 and the man is on the floor. Now, to me, that's self defense. Well, when the patron picks up the gun, he realized this man robbing them with a toy gun. The gun wasn't even real. So now he's probably got on his conscience that he just killed somebody, because the man did die that he shot. And he leaves. He gives everybody back their wallets and he leaves. Well, they finally catch up with him. And now they like, well, we got to see if they're going to prosecute him for what? It was self defense. Why are you prosecuting him? This is where I have well, and now we're going to have to look at the laws. And no, we don't. It is, I am sorry that that man died, but that man made choices. And this is the same way, y'all, when it comes to spiritual stuff. There are going to be people that are going to make choices, heaven and hell choices. And unfortunately, my prayer is that you wake up. But the same way that man came in there with a toy gun that nobody knew was a toy, and he decided to do a criminal activity that ended up getting him shot and killed. He was a victimizer. That man was a victim, and that man did what he could in self defense, not knowing that this was a toy gun. It was a criminal activity regardless. But now we feel sorry for the victim. Now I feel sorry for the fact that you got a mentality where you got to go in and rob people. I do feel sorry for that because something is not right, but it's not justified either. And to me, the man who ended up shooting and killing you, that man should not go to prison. He was sitting there having dinner with his friend. Other people were sitting there having dinner and going to pay for their meal. You came in to do a criminal act. And I'm somebody whose grandfather was shot and killed. You came in, you went to rob the place. My grandfather shot the man in the leg, but that man ended up emptying a bullet, but emptied an entire gun. They arrested all three people. They caught all of them, and you went to prison. Do I feel sorry for the victimizer? No, I do not. The only thing I feel sorry for you is that you don't know the Lord, you're not saved, and you live in a life that's just insanity. That's about it. But we all have to pay the piper for stuff, and especially stuff like that when it's out of order. But in our world today, we are now justifying criminal behavior the same way we're justifying certain lifestyle stuff. We're trying to say, oh, you can tell me you're this. And I'm looking at you and I see this, I see hair, I see all this stuff, but I'm supposed to call you she. Question mark. I'm supposed to be in whatever your want for yourself is. I'm fat. I don't want you to tell me I'm skinny because that's not true. I know I'm fat. But I can sit and tell myself I'm skinny all day long. And then I want you to tell me what you looking at you and she fat as hell. But she want me to tell her she's skinny. It's almost insanity. So I'm looking at something, born something, and you're no, no, no. And I'm not trying to be mean. My heart goes out because, like I said, I got friends who have chosen, well, associate friends, so to speak, who've chosen to switch gears. And I'm looking at you and you're telling me now in this world, I gotta call you one thing, but I know I can physically see you're something different. It's as if I gotta be in whatever this delusion is with you. And I gotta justify it. That's weird to me. Not trying to be mean, I'm just keeping it 100. And I'm praying that people wake up. And like I said, on this channel, I just try to be me, and talk about things that are me. And people don't have to agree. But I'm telling you, we're in a time, and I hope that people wake up because I sense that things are wrapping up very swiftly. And there's going to be even more events that are going to happen. For my best friend who is not Christian by any means to turn around and say, the world is under a curse. That means she realizes, even if she may not put it into context, there are spiritual things going on, and there's something big enough to curse the world. That says something. It says a lot. I shared this on my Christian channel, well, Christian group, and I haven't posted it, but I just did a video and I gotta post it here in a minute. But it says, when Jesus asked Peter, who do they say that I am? And he says, you're the Christ, you're the Messiah, you're the Son of God. He said, flesh and blood didn't show you this, but my Father in heaven. So what I've realized is that only God can open up the minds of people if they are willing. And you have to be willing. Only He can peel back the veils from the eyes to see. And if you're anybody who don't know Him, need to have a conversation and ask to know Him and ask Him to show you. We are in a very unique time. And right now, like I said, some people, there's even Christian folks that claim to be Christian that don't believe in the rapture. I think we're sitting on the precipice of it. When it happens, I don't know. I'm praying to make that, not the casket first, because I really, 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 really want to see what that. I just want to experience it. I'm used to be, I think, scared of it in my youth, but now seeing all that I've seen manifest, I am curious. I want to know how that whole event is going to happen, and I would like. Will you be asleep and you hear this trumpet? Because it is a trumpet. It's going to be most likely the sound of the shofar. Um, and the shofar, if y'all don't know, it's a horn. It's an animal horn, and they blow through it. And so they do it in Jerusalem during different feasts. And I believe we're going to hear that sound. And will you wake up? Will you just automatically be? How is it going to work? Will the earth be shaking? I'm just, there's so much that I'm wondering about it. And to be this far into seeing all the prophetic end times events that are precursors to the coming of the Antichrist, precursors to the full one world government, precursors to the rapture, precursors to the self-centeredness that God told us man would be. I am just sitting here in awe. So I challenge anybody who don't know Christ, y'all better get to know him. And for those of you who are Christian, I'm also going to say to you, be prayerful about what you are receiving in some of the houses of worship, because the enemy has infiltrated in a very good and deceptive manner between new age thought, new think, accepting things that are not of God into the house. He's done a very good job at what he does. He's very good at what he does. Anyway, guys, it's only 30 minutes in, and I'm not going to be on here much longer. I might do another video next Saturday. Well, no, I don't know. It depends if I work overtime or not. Because I might go in for overtime. They had us for mandatory overtime, but I've switched. They asked some of us to be able to switch over to another division of the company because they were short there. So we dual trained. I'm finishing up the training this week, and so they removed me from they removed all of us from that are part of this course from the mandatory overtime for the old group we were in, but I think we can still do it. And I had already kind of thought about it. Hey, Kathy, what's up? I was hoping you realized, I thought you popped in too earlier. You realized that not accidentally, my internet was doing weird. So I had to reboot the whole, and I had to turn it off and on. I think somebody trying to hack my internet. I'm going to be honest. So I had to reboot the whole internet. How's weather everywhere where y'all are at? And then I'm not gonna be on here much longer because I do have homework too tonight. I got a test I got to do. I think that's the only thing in a check-in. So I don't know. Test might be about an hour, if that. It depends on how quickly I get through the test. That's really the. So after I get off this, I'm gonna do the test and get it over with, and then I'm gonna go in here heat something up. And I've been working on organizing my kitchen and my refrigerator and doing that. So how you doing? And then I'm gonna get off of here. I'll wait for y'all to let me know. And happy New Year to everybody. And y'all all be very prayerful in this new year because there's more coming. Because like I said, when I saw the news about that 6-year-old going in and shooting his teacher, I was like, I'm done. That took it to a whole nother level for me. I'm like, when you see 6-year-olds that shoot their cheek, where does that come from? Well, I know where it comes from, but yeah. Everybody okay? Because I'm getting ready to end it. Okay, ain't nobody really chatting. And I presume everybody can hear me okay. All right. Well, nobody's responding. So, anyway, y'all, I'm about to get off of here. Like I said, I'm going to do some homework. I pray you guys all had a good new year. I'm going to put that picture I had back up. Real quick, I went to go empty the trash yesterday and walking to the trash can. I think somebody moved out. This is like apartments here. Somebody must have moved out. And I know they did bulk trash, but somebody put out a wine rack. So I'm presuming they must have moved. This thing is solid steel with a couple of glass shelves. It's gorgeous, very pretty. And so the picture that I had as the original thumbnail, which I'll put back up on here, that is a picture of the wine rack I found near the trash can. So today I just went out there, I washed it down because whoever had it at, I'm pretty sure they had a cat because I could see it was pretty clean other than the cat, the animal hair, but I could see that there was animal hair on it. And when I went to move it, my face, I'm allergic to cats. My face starts itching, my hands are itching. So I knew pretty much cat. So today I went out there and I did a what's called a power wash and washed it off with my wand for my garden. And then I just went out back out there and I had done Pine Sol and Fabuloso. And I have a brush like what you scrub a car with, but I use it for the shower. And I scrubbed the whole thing down. It's raw. It's like an iron. It's solid metal, with the exception of the glass shelves. It's heavy as hell. So right now it's drying on the back patio, and I'll probably move it into the house tomorrow. If it's dry in the morning, I'll move it in the morning. If not, I'll move it in when I get back from work tomorrow night. But I'm hoping it'll be dry in the morning because I would like to move it in. The back gate here where I'm at, I can latch it from the inside, but I don't have something to lock it from the outside. And like I said, this is really nice. So I don't want anybody coming back there and taking it. Because whoever left it out, thank you for my free wine rack with shelves because it's gorgeous. Anyway, I'll put the picture up as the thumbnail here in a little bit. Y'all be blessed. Two and two. Peace.